There is only one truly wild horse left in the world. This is its story. Hello and welcome to episode 115 of the Planet Zoo Experience, and today we're talking about one of the greatest conservation efforts, the greatest conservation effort in human history. That of the Przewalski's horse. Off the top, two things. First, as you can see, the exhibit is already almost finished. Your boy forgot to hit the screen record button. Feel free to point and laugh in the comments. I deserve it. And secondly, yes, despite the spelling, it is pronounced Przewalski, but because it is a mouthful, I will be calling it by its native name, the taki. Native to the steppes of Central Asia, the wild equine can be found in Mongolia, Xinjiang, and northwest Gansu in the modern day. Now, I'm sure a good chunk of you are curious as to why this Hans is so much more notable than any other Hans. Well, simply, this is the last truly wild horse. Many horses may roam the plains across the world, but all of them are just domesticated horses released into the wild. The taki has never been, nor will it ever likely be, domesticated. Now, you may have also noticed that they're quite stocky for a horse, standing only 48 to 56 inches tall, or 12 to 14 hands tall if you are a classic equestrian, and weighing roughly 660 pounds. Now, horses as a species are quite old, with their earliest ancestor evolving in North America 55 million years ago. These animals, however, only barely resembled horses at all, but all of the horses' evolutionary history would take place in North America, until eventually they would cross into the Old World like so many others did. The taki diverged from domestic horses roughly 72 to 38,000 years ago, and the oldest fossils of our show pony dates back to 4000 BC. Now, the most important of this animal is its survival story, so this last section, that takes up 2.5 pages, will be combining both that and its cultural significance. Throughout the early days of nomadic life in the steppes, there had been many sporadic reports of this animal, but this was before any sort of proper taxonomic classification and, in all honesty, written language. The first known description was from a Buddhist monk in the 900s, and this was not an in-depth analysis, more of an observation of the notably different taki versus the other horse species. The Mongol people were all well aware of the differences between their riding horses and the taki, often being used as gifts, seeing how difficult it was to actually capture one of these. The practice would actually continue up until the 1600s, maybe even longer, and the steppe people held the taki in a very high regard. So high, as a matter of fact, its name itself, taki, means a spirit worth worshipping. Now, the next point of significance would come in 1226. Yes, this is actually a story of the great Khan of Khans himself. Allegedly, Genghis Khan once rode upon a herd of taki, for one reason or another, and they immediately went into a panic. This panic scared his mount so bad, it was one of the few times the great Temujin would be thrown from his steed, or at least one of the few times that was allowed to be reported. The fascination of this animal would continue to bring explorers from all over the region to observe the wild horse, either for personal interest, under the orders of someone like the Qing Emperor or the Tsar of Russia, or for scientific research. This is where we get into the namesake founder, Nikolai Mikhailovich Przewalski. Russian-born Polish geographer and explorer, set out to discover all he could from the lands of Amdo, Zungaria, and Tibet. Naming several animals and documenting the vast wilderness of the area, and he was not a creative namer, by the way. The wild horse wasn't the only animal he slapped his very confusing name on. As a matter of fact, a gazelle was also blessed with such a painful existence. One last notable fact, if you are a historian, he also apprenticed Pyotr Kozlov, one of the greatest archaeologists of the Soviet Union. However, with the passage of time, the taki would rapidly go extinct due to herds of livestock taking up grazing land and bringing diseases, as well as overhunting. And by 1947, it was telling that all hope was lost for the steppe horse. And by 1969, they were gone. The same year we sent a man to the moon, the last of any wild horse was extinct. Until, in 1977, an undertaking of meticulous and grand effort would begin. The preservation and protection of the Przewalski horse was founded in the Rotterdam Zoo in the Netherlands. This organization would painstakingly keep records of takis still in captivity and breed them in the safest way possible. This was so that they could increase their numbers. As you see, many Przewalski horses were sent across to zoos around the world, and they would start to work together to bring this horse back from the void. And this wasn't just in the free world. This was truly a global endeavor, with the Soviet Union and China aiding in the effort. As populations started to hit 4 digits, they would be released in preserves all across Europe, including the Chernobyl exclusion zone. Reintroduction to their old range started in 1985 in Xinjiang, and by 2013, there were 127 wild horses back in the steppe. The number has been slowly climbing in China and Mongolia for a good while now, but they still struggle. A few harsh winters in the early 2000s was quite an issue, but their biggest issue has, and always will be, their genetic diversity. The worry of inbreeding causing weaknesses to disease and sterilization is a constant threat. But in the 2020s, multiple takis were actually successfully cloned from dead specimens, hopefully adding more genetic code into the pool. And, strangely enough, a few taki were somehow found in Utah and Colorado in a farm auction under the idea that they were mules in 2024. Nobody knows how they got there, who sent them to the US, or if they were even part of the conservation effort previously. But they may have more genetic data that could aid in the repopulation efforts. And I'm very happy to say that as of now, there are roughly 2,500 Przewalski horses living their lives as intended, in the wild. And with that happy note, that is all I have for today. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, share, and subscribe. If there's anything you would like to add, feel free to leave it in the comments. But until next time, go outside, touch grass, hug your loved ones, drink water, and bye-bye.